Sheila Carter stood in the shadowed corner of the Forrester mansion's large living room, her pulse thumping like a drum in a quiet storm. The perfume of fresh lilies from the vase on the mantel filled the air, a stark contrast to the decay she sensed rotting within her spirit. For years she had built webs of lies, each one tightening around the lives of individuals she professed to love. But tonight something had changed. The weight of her secrets had grown terrible, like a boulder crushing her chest with each breath. She had to disclose the truth regardless of the consequences. It was time to let the poison out, even if it destroyed everything in its path. Steffy Forrester paced the room, her heels clicking fiercely on the polished wooden floor. Her thoughts was a maelstrom of anguish and wrath, with memories of Luna flashing like lightning in a gloomy sky. Luna, darling Luna, had entered their life like a gentle wind, only to be snatched away in a tragedy that haunted Steffy's thoughts to this day. The accident, or was it? Had created a hole that no amount of time could fill. Steffy wiped a tear from her cheek, her makeup ruined from hours of crying. She had just returned from the cemetery, where she had left flowers on Luna's grave and apologized for not protecting her better. The door creaked open and Sheila entered the light. Her face, which was normally twisted with cunning, now displayed the signs of tiredness and remorse. "Steffy," she whispered, her voice scarcely audible. "We need to talk." Steffy whirled around, her eyes narrowing with hate. "What are you doing here, Sheila? Haven't you already inflicted enough pain? Get out before I call security." Sheila raised her hands, palms out in submission. "Please hear me out. This is not about me. It is about Luna." The name struck Steffy like a slap. "Don't dare to utter her name. You have no rights. Luna is no longer with us because of people like you, manipulators who mess with people's lives." Sheila's eyes filled with true tears this time. She'd faked feelings before, but this was genuine, raw. "She isn't gone, Steffy. Luna. She is alive." The words hung in the air, impossible and harsh. Steffy's face was devoid of color, and her legs buckled as she gripped the back of a chair. "What? What are you saying? That is impossible. We buried her. We mourned her. You are lying." Sheila shook her head and stepped closer. "I wish I were. But this is the truth. I arranged everything. The accident, the fabricated death. I thought I was protecting her, but I was mistaken. So wrong." Flashback to 6 months ago. Luna Nozawa had been a bright spot in the Forrester family's otherwise turbulent world. Adopted into the fold due to intricate familial relationships, she brought innocence and joy, her laughter resounding throughout the hallways. But Sheila, ever the schemer, viewed Luna as a pawn in her never-ending game against the Forresters. Sheila, jealous of Luna's attention, particularly from Finn, her son, devised a plot. A faked automobile accident, a body double, and Luna are whisked away to a distant lodge under the premise of protection from fictitious dangers. Luna awoke in the cabin, bewildered and with a pounding head from the medication Sheila had provided. "Where am I? What happened?" she sobbed, but Sheila's comforting lies kept her alone. "You are safe, sweetheart. There was an accident, but you are fine. The world believes you're dead. It's for your own good." Days stretched into weeks, then months. Luna's formerly lively personality faded under the weight of isolation. She missed her family, her friends, and the life she'd created. Depression came in like a thick fog that obscured her thoughts. She begged Sheila to let her go, but Sheila, confident she was doing the right thing, declined. "They do not comprehend, Luna. I'm your real protector." Back in the present, Steffy stared at Sheila, shock becoming to hatred. "What did you do? You pretended she was dead? Why? What type of monster are you?" Sheila collapsed into a chair, her body shaking. "I admit that it began as a form of revenge. But then, I came to care for her. In my warped way, I believed I was offering her a better life away from the Forrester drama. But now I realize how wrong I was. She's in pain, Steffy. She's alive, but barely so." Steffy's thoughts raced. Images of Luna's funeral flooding back, including the closed casket, sobs, and countless nights of insomnia. "Where is she? Take me to her now." Sheila nodded, pulling out a crumpled note containing an address. "I will drive you. But prepare yourself. She's not the Luna you remember." The journey to the cabin was silent, with anxiety as thick as fog. Steffi grasped the steering wheel. She had insisted on driving, not trusting Sheila one bit. The path wound through deep woodlands, with the trees whispering their own stories. As they neared, Steffi's heart hurt with a mix of hope and fear. The cabin was small and quiet, surrounded by pine trees that masked the light. Sheila gently knocked and the door creaked open. Luna stood there, pallid and skinny, her eyes dead as ghosts. Her once lustrous hair hung limp, and her clothes looked worn, as if she hadn't changed in days. "Luna," Steffi muttered, tears spilling down her cheeks. Luna's eyes widened with surprise. "Steffi? Is this real? Or another dream?" Steffi rushed forward and hugged Luna. Luna's body was fragile, with bones protruding beneath her skin. "It is real. Oh my God, this is real. You are alive." But as they separated, Luna's expression deteriorated. "Why? Why did this occur? Sheila said it was for my safety, but sometimes I wanted to die. The loneliness and pain." Sheila hung back, humiliation etched deep lines across her cheeks. "I apologize, Luna. I thought I was helping." Luna looked to her, her eyes filled with pain. "Helping? You stole my life. I lost everything, my family and my dreams. Do you know what it's like to wake up every day and believe no one cares if you're gone?" Steffi guided Luna inside and away from Sheila. The cabin was basic, consisting of a single room with a bed, a table and leftover meals. Luna dropped on the bed, sobbing uncontrollably. "I attempted to flee once, but I became lost in the woods. I was so afraid. And then I just gave up." Steffi's heart broke again. This was hardly the happy reunion she had envisioned in her wildest dreams. Luna was alive, true, but the spark that made her Luna was dimming and on the edge of extinction. "We'll get you out of here. Return home where you belong." Sheila made a hesitant approach as they prepared to leave. "Let me make things right. I will turn myself in. Tell the police everything." Luna glanced at her with sympathy and anger. "It is too late for that. The damage is done." The ride back to Los Angeles was filled with emotion. Luna glanced out the window, watching the world she had been taken from fade away. Memories assailed her. Laughter with friends, stolen moments of delight. But suddenly everything felt tinged with betrayal. When they arrived at the Forrester estate, the family gathered in shock. Ridge, Brooke, and Finn hurried to embrace Luna, their delight tempered by the tragedy of what had happened. Finn was especially distraught, his medical mind racing over Luna's psychological toll. "Luna, my God," Finn whispered, bringing her closer. "We thought we lost you forever." Luna mustered a feeble smile, but her eyes revealed the turmoil within. "I thought so too. But being alive hurts more than I thought." In the days that followed, the truth unfurled like a tangled thread. Sheila was caught, and her confession poured out in a torrent of remorse. The media frenzy was intense, with headlines shouting about the miracle and the monster. However, for Luna, the spotlight was a harsh reminder of her tragedy. She struggled to adjust. Nights were filled with nightmares about the cabin and Sheila's face hanging over her. Therapy sessions helped, but the grief persisted as a regular companion. Steffi remained by her side, offering comfort, but even she could sense the change. Luna faded, her previously exuberant personality replaced with silent thought. Luna and Steffi sat on the beach one evening, watching the sun set over the Pacific. Waves crashed regularly, providing a relaxing soundtrack to their chat. "I don't know if I can ever be whole again," Luna admitted, her voice breaking. "Part of me perished in that hut. The trust, the innocent, is gone." Steffi took her hand. "You're stronger than you realize. We will get through this together." But Steffi dreaded the worst. Luna's eyes contained an emptiness that no amount of love could fill. The shock of her survival had given delight, but the truth Sheila disclosed had uncovered a pain that was too deep to cure fast. Weeks became months. Luna attempted to regain her life by returning to work at Forrester Creations. The designs she previously adored now seemed worthless, her creativity strangled by doubt. Colleagues muttered, their pitying looks like daggers. Luna discovered an old journal in her room one day, with pages filled with pre-abduction dreams. She flipped through them, tears obscuring the ink. "Who am I now?" she said quietly to the empty room. Finn noticed her decrease first. As a doctor, he recognized the symptoms of profound depression. He urged her to seek additional assistance, but Luna resisted. "I'm fine," she pretended, her grin a delicate mask. Then came the night which ruined everything. Steffi discovered Luna in the toilet, pills thrown over the floor, her wrists hastily wrapped. "Luna!" "No." Luna looked up, her eyes dulled. "I can't do it anymore. The pain is too much." Luna was rushed to the hospital and survived, but the attempt left scars deeper than the skin. The family rallied, but melancholy had taken root and spread like ivy across their lives. Sheila wept as she learned the news in her prison cell. Her confession, intended to atone, had merely exacerbated the disaster. "What have I done?" she asked quietly, the weight of her actions crushing her. Steffi sat by Luna's bedside and held her hand. "Fight, Luna. For us. For yourself." Luna nodded weakly. "I'll try." However, the road to recovery was long and filled with obstacles. Friendships strained, relationships put to the test. The world of the bold and the beautiful, filled with glitter and intrigue, now seems hollow. In quiet moments, Luna considered the irony. Alive yet feeling dead inside. The truth had set her free physically, but emotionally she remained imprisoned. Years later, Luna would remember this as the darkest chapter. She sought refuge in writing, completing a memoir about her ordeal. It became a bestseller and touched many people's lives, yet the melancholy lingered. It became a part of her, a shadow that helped her grow stronger and wiser. Steffi too has changed. The shock had taught her about sensitivity and the fragility of life. She treasured each moment, yet the recollection of that revelation tormented her. What about Sheila? She spent her days in sorrow, her truth a double-edged sword that struck deepest into those she had wronged. Finally, the story was one of survival, but it was tinged with tremendous melancholy, a one-of-a-kind tale of loss in the midst of life, where being alive did not always imply living.